There are some people you meet in life and you immediately know they are different. You may not understand it at first. You may not have a logical explanation for it. You may even try to convince yourself that it is just a temporary feeling, just another connection, just another chapter that will eventually fade. But sometimes your heart recognizes something before your mind has the language to explain it. And that is what happened with her. I didn't sit down one day and decide that she would become the person my heart would choose. It happened quietly, naturally. Somewhere between the conversations, the little moments, the way she looked at the world, and the way I felt when she was around, something changed inside me. I began noticing that her happiness mattered to me. Her silence made me wonder if she was okay. Her dreams started becoming things I wanted to understand, and without realizing it, I had started making space for her in places inside me that I had always kept protected. That is the strange thing about real connection. It doesn't always arrive with fireworks. Sometimes it arrives as peace. Sometimes it is simply the feeling that you can be yourself around someone without constantly trying to prove your worth. You don't need to perform. You don't need to pretend. You can talk about your ambitions, your fears, your failures, your future, and somehow you still feel accepted. And maybe that's why my heart chose her before I understood why. It wasn't because she was perfect. Nobody is. It wasn't because everything between us was always easy. Life doesn't work that way. It was because something about her felt real. In a world where people can come and go so quickly, she became someone I didn't want to treat as temporary. The more I understood her, the more I realized that love isn't simply about how strongly you feel in one particular moment. It is about how consistently you show up. It is about listening when she needs to be heard, noticing the small things, respecting what matters to her, and making her feel that she doesn't have to face everything alone. Trust is built through those ordinary moments where two people continue turning toward each other instead of walking away. And that's when I understood something important. Choosing her wasn't one dramatic decision. It was happening every day. Every time I cared about what she was feeling, I was choosing her. Every time I wanted to understand her, instead of judging her, I was choosing her. Every time I imagined the future, and naturally saw her somewhere in it, I was choosing her again. Maybe the heart knows because it pays attention to things the mind sometimes overlooks. It remembers the person who made an ordinary day feel different. It remembers the voice that brought calm during uncertainty. It remembers the presence that made you feel understood, without requiring 1,000 explanations. So if she ever wonders why her place in my heart feels so permanent, I don't know if I could give her one perfect explanation. I can only tell her the truth. My heart didn't choose her because I had all the answers. My heart chose her first, and then my mind spent all this time discovering why. And now that I understand, I don't want to fight what my heart already knew. I want to build a life worthy of the woman it chose. There is a kind of peace you don't realize you're missing until someone brings it into your life. You can spend years moving forward, chasing goals, solving problems, building things, trying to become stronger, and convincing yourself that you have everything under control. And then one person enters your life, and suddenly you realize that maybe what you were searching for wasn't another achievement. Maybe it was simply someone who made the journey feel less lonely. That is what she became for me. She became the peace I never knew I was searching for. Before her, I thought peace meant having no problems. I thought it meant reaching a point where nothing could disturb you, where every question had an answer, and every part of life was perfectly organized. But she taught me something different. Real peace isn't the absence of problems. Sometimes, real peace is knowing that when problems come, there is someone beside you who makes you feel like you can face them. With her, I don't have to pretend that I have everything figured out. I don't have to hide every uncertainty or every moment when I feel lost. I can simply be human. And there is something incredibly powerful about being around someone who doesn't demand perfection from you just to stay. Maybe that's why her presence feels different. It isn't always about what she says. Sometimes it's the way she listens. Sometimes it's a simple conversation at the end of a difficult day. Sometimes it's a smile that changes the entire atmosphere of a moment. Sometimes it's knowing that I can reach for her, and she will understand that I'm not always looking for an answer. Sometimes I just want to know that she's there, and those little moments matter more than we realize. Emotional connection is often built through ordinary interactions, paying attention, responding when your partner reaches out, showing interest in their world, and making them feel heard and valued. That's what makes her so important to me. She didn't come into my life and magically make everything easy. She didn't remove every challenge or erase every fear. What she did was change the way those challenges felt. Suddenly, the future wasn't just something I had to conquer. It became something I could imagine sharing. And maybe that's the greatest gift another person can give you. Not a perfect life, but a reason to look at life differently. She makes ordinary moments feel meaningful. A conversation becomes a memory. A quiet evening becomes something I want to remember. A difficult day becomes easier simply because I know there is someone I can talk to. And slowly, without even noticing it, her presence becomes part of the way you experience the world. That's when you realize this isn't just about being in love. It's about feeling at home, because home isn't always a place. Sometimes home is a person whose presence allows your mind to become quiet, whose honesty allows your heart to become open, and whose existence reminds you that you don't have to carry everything alone. And if I could give her one promise, it would be this. I don't want to take that peace for granted. I want to protect it, nurture it, and return it to her whenever life becomes heavy. Because she didn't simply become someone I love. She became the quiet certainty in a noisy world, the place my heart goes when everything else feels uncertain. And the reason I finally understand that sometimes the greatest thing you can find in life isn't another destination, but the person who makes every destination worth reaching. I don't love her because she's perfect. I love her because she's her. And there is a huge difference between those two things. Perfection is an idea. It exists in our imagination. We create this picture of someone who always says the right thing, never makes mistakes, never gets frustrated, never has a bad day, and somehow knows exactly what we need before we even say it. But real love doesn't happen between two perfect people. It happens between two human beings who are willing to see each other completely and still say, I choose you. That is how I feel about her. I have seen the parts of her that the world may never see. The moments when she doubts herself. The moments when she becomes quiet. The moments when she doesn't know what to say. I've seen her strengths, but I've also seen her vulnerabilities. And somehow, knowing all of that hasn't made me love her less. It has made my love deeper, because when you truly care about someone, you stop looking at them as an image and start seeing them as a person. You stop asking, how can she be perfect for me? And start asking, how can I understand her better? That changes everything. I don't need her to be perfect. I need her to be honest. I need her to be real. I need her to be herself. Even when being herself means showing me the parts she thinks aren't beautiful enough. And I want her to know something. She never has to hide those parts from me. Her imperfections don't make her less valuable. They remind me that she is human. They give me opportunities to understand her, to support her, to grow beside her. And if we're going to build something that lasts, then I don't want a relationship built around pretending. I want one built around truth. Real commitment isn't simply saying beautiful words when everything feels easy. It shows up in the ordinary moments. When you consider your partner's feelings, keep your promises, listen instead of immediately judging, and choose to protect the connection. Those small actions are what gradually build trust and security. That's the kind of love I want to give her. I want to know what makes her excited. I want to understand what scares her. I want to hear the dreams she hasn't told anyone yet. I want to celebrate the things she accomplishes, but I also want to be there when she fails. Because if I only love the version of her that succeeds, then I'm not really loving her. I'm loving an image, and she deserves more than that. She deserves someone who can look at her on her best day and say, "You're incredible," but can also look at her on her worst day and say, "I'm still here." Because that's what choosing someone really means. It means I don't expect every day to feel like the beginning. I don't expect every conversation to be perfect. I don't expect us to agree on everything. I expect us to keep learning each other. I expect us to keep growing. I expect us to keep choosing honesty over pretending and understanding over winning. And maybe that's why she became so important to me. Not because she fits some impossible definition of perfection, but because when I look at her, I see someone I want to know more deeply tomorrow than I know today. I don't want to change who she is so she can fit my idea of love. I want to love who she already is and build something strong enough that both of us can become everything we're capable of becoming. So no, I don't love her because she's perfect. I love her because she's real, because she's unique, because she's human, because she's herself. And after everything I've seen, everything I've learned, and everything I feel, she's still the person my heart chooses. I don't need a perfect woman. I need the one whose imperfect, beautiful, unforgettable self makes me certain that she's worth choosing for a lifetime. If I had to choose again, knowing everything I know now, I would still choose her. And I think that is one of the most powerful things a person can say about love, because choosing someone once is easy when everything is new. When every conversation feels exciting, when every message makes you smile, when you're discovering new things about each other, and the future feels unlimited. In those moments, love can feel effortless. But what happens when the excitement becomes familiar? What happens when life gets complicated? When responsibilities increase, when difficult conversations happen, when two people misunderstand each other, when one person has a terrible day and the other doesn't know how to fix it, that's where the real choice begins. And if I had to go back and stand at the beginning of this journey again, I wouldn't need to know that everything would be perfect. I wouldn't need a guarantee that we'd never disagree or that every day would be easy. I'd simply need to know that she was still herself, because I would choose her again. I'd choose her because of the way she makes ordinary moments meaningful. I'd choose her because of the peace I feel when I know she's there. I'd choose her because I've seen her imperfections and discovered that they don't make me want to run. They make me want to understand her more deeply. And I'd choose her because love isn't really about finding someone who makes every problem disappear. It's about finding someone you're willing to face the problems with. That distinction matters. A relationship isn't built by one giant promise made once. Commitment is demonstrated through countless small decisions, considering the other person when making choices, keeping your word, listening, showing appreciation, and turning toward each other when life becomes difficult. That's the kind of commitment I want. I want to choose her when we're laughing together, but also when we're trying to understand each other after a difficult conversation. I want to choose her when everything is going according to plan, but also when the plan suddenly changes. I want to choose her when she's confident and when she's questioning herself. I want to choose her when the future looks obvious and when the future looks uncertain. Because if I only choose someone when life is easy, then I'm not really choosing the person. I'm choosing the circumstances. And circumstances change. People grow, life moves, dreams evolve. But when two people genuinely care about each other, they can continue learning who they are becoming and choosing to walk forward together. That's what makes this different. I don't want to promise her that nothing will ever change. That wouldn't be realistic. I want to promise something stronger. That change will not automatically make me stop seeing her value. I want to keep discovering her. I want to know the person she becomes 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. I want to hear the dreams she hasn't dreamed yet. I want to see the goals she hasn't imagined yet. I want to grow while she grows. Instead of expecting either of us to remain frozen in the version of ourselves we were when we first met. And if I could stand at the beginning again, knowing every beautiful moment and every difficult one that would come, my answer would still be the same. Her, not because I know exactly what the future holds, but because whatever the future holds, I know who I want beside me while I discover it. So if life gave me the choice again, another beginning, another road, another chance to decide who deserves my heart, I wouldn't hesitate. I'd choose her. I'd choose her again and again. And when the world finally asks me what the greatest decision of my life was, I won't point to a moment of success or a destination I reached. I will point to the woman I chose and say with complete certainty, I had every chance to choose differently, and every time, my heart still chose her. Before she came into my life, I thought about the future in a completely different way. I thought about goals, achievements, places I wanted to go, things I wanted to build, and everything I wanted to accomplish. My future was a map filled with destinations, and I believed success was simply about reaching as many of them as possible. Then she became part of my life, and somehow the map changed. She didn't make my dreams smaller. She made them more meaningful. Suddenly, when I imagined tomorrow, I didn't only see what I could achieve. I started thinking about who I wanted beside me when I achieved it. I started imagining the quiet moments after the big victories, the conversations after difficult days, the ordinary mornings that nobody else would ever see. And that's when I realized something important. A future isn't truly valuable because of what you have in it. It's valuable because of who you get to share it with. She changed the way I see my future because she made me understand that success without connection can feel strangely empty. You can reach the highest point and still have no one to turn toward. You can accomplish things people admire and still wish there were one person sitting beside you who understood what the journey actually cost. With her, I started imagining something different. I started imagining a future where the goal wasn't simply to win, but to build something worth protecting. I want to see her dreams become real. I want to watch her grow into the person she is capable of becoming. I want to be there when she takes risks, when she succeeds, when she doubts herself, and when she discovers that she was capable of far more than she believed. And I want her to see the same thing in me. That's what makes love so powerful when it is healthy. It doesn't ask you to abandon your ambitions. It gives those ambitions another dimension. Instead of asking, what can I accomplish for myself? You begin asking, what can we build together? That doesn't mean losing yourself. It means expanding the idea of yourself. My future is still filled with challenges. There will still be uncertainty. There will be unexpected problems, difficult decisions, and moments when nothing goes according to plan. Loving someone doesn't eliminate those things. But now, I don't look at uncertainty the same way. I see possibility. Because when you know there is someone you deeply care about, the future becomes more than a list of unknown variables. It becomes a story you want to discover. I want the future to contain memories we haven't created yet, places we haven't seen, conversations we haven't had, dreams we haven't even imagined. I want the ordinary things too. The late-night conversations, the laughter over something nobody else would understand, the quiet moments when we don't need to say anything at all. Those moments may never appear on a list of achievements, but someday, I think, they will be the moments that matter most. And maybe that's the biggest change she made in me. She didn't simply make me want a future. She made me care about the kind of future I was building. Because now I don't want to reach the end of my journey and discover that I spent all my time chasing things, while forgetting the person who made the journey meaningful. I want to build something that lasts. I want to grow without losing what matters. I want to succeed without becoming disconnected. And most importantly, I want her to know that when I imagine the years ahead, I don't see her as an addition to my future. I see her as part of the reason that future is worth imagining. She changed the way I see tomorrow because she taught my heart that the greatest future isn't the one where I have everything. It's the one where, after everything I've built, achieved, and overcome, I can still turn around and find her standing beside me. Because the future became beautiful the moment I stopped asking what I could achieve alone and started imagining everything we could become together. There are moments when I look at her and realize that the words, "I love you," are simply not enough. Not because those words aren't beautiful, but because what I feel for her has grown beyond something I can explain in a sentence. I can tell her I love her 1,000 times, but I want my actions to tell the story my words cannot. I want her to feel loved when I listen to her, especially when she doesn't know how to explain what she's feeling. I want her to feel loved when I remember the little things she once mentioned without thinking they were important. I want her to feel loved when life becomes difficult and she doesn't have the strength to pretend everything is okay. Because love isn't only what you say when you're looking into someone's eyes during a beautiful moment. Love is what you do when nobody is watching. It's being there. It's paying attention. It's keeping your promises. It's asking, "How are you really doing?" and actually waiting for the answer. It's understanding that sometimes the person you love doesn't need you to solve everything. Sometimes they simply need to know that they don't have to carry everything alone. That's the kind of love I want to give her. I don't want her to measure my love by the number of romantic words I can say. I want her to measure it by how safe she feels being herself around me, by how comfortable she feels telling me the truth, by knowing that her dreams matter to me, that her fears won't make me judge her, and that her difficult days won't make me disappear, because anyone can say beautiful things when everything is easy. But when life becomes complicated, that's when love has to become action. I want to support her ambitions without trying to control them. I want to celebrate her victories without making them about myself. I want to stand beside her when she succeeds, but I also want to stand beside her when she fails and reminds herself that one failure doesn't define her. I want to know the person behind the smile. I want to understand the silence behind the words. I want to recognize when she needs encouragement and when she simply needs someone to listen. And I know I'm not going to get everything right. There will be moments when I misunderstand her. There will be times when I say the wrong thing or fail to recognize what she needs immediately. But loving someone deeply doesn't mean becoming perfect overnight. It means being willing to learn them again and again, because people change, their dreams change, their fears change, their priorities change. And if I truly love her, I don't want to love only the version of her I met at the beginning. I want to keep discovering the woman she becomes. I want my love to have patience. I want it to have honesty. I want it to have consistency. I want it to have enough strength to survive ordinary days, because a lifetime isn't made only of extraordinary moments. Most of a lifetime is made of small moments, and those small moments are where love either becomes real or slowly disappears. So I don't want to make her a promise that sounds beautiful but means nothing. I want to give her something much harder and much more valuable. A love she can recognize in my behavior. A love she can see when I show up. A love she can hear in the way I listen. A love she can feel in the way I protect our trust. A love she can depend on when the world becomes uncertain. And maybe someday, when words fail completely, I hope she won't need me to explain how much she means to me. I hope she'll already know. Because the greatest love isn't the love that can be described with the most beautiful words. It is the love that becomes so deeply woven into your actions that you don't have to say, "I love you" anymore, because everything you do has already said it for you. There is something easy to say when everything is going well. "I'll always be here." But the real meaning of those words only becomes clear when life stops being easy. Anyone can stay when the days are beautiful. Anyone can promise forever when there is nothing standing in the way. But love is tested when circumstances change, when misunderstandings happen, when distance creates silence, when responsibilities become heavier, and when two people discover that life doesn't always follow the plan they imagined. And if that day comes, I don't want my love for her to disappear. I don't expect our journey to be perfect. I don't expect every conversation to end with agreement. I don't expect us to wake up every morning feeling exactly the same way we did when we first met. That's not what I think love is. I think love is what remains when the excitement becomes familiar and reality begins asking difficult questions. When life tests us, I want to remember why I chose her in the first place. I want to remember the woman behind the difficult moment. I want to remember her heart, her dreams, her kindness, her strength, and all the moments that made me realize she was someone I wanted in my life. Because one difficult day should never erase 1,000 beautiful ones, and one disagreement should never make me forget everything we have built. There will be moments when we don't understand each other. There may be times when one of us needs space, when emotions become stronger than logic, or when words come out wrong. But those moments don't have to become the end of the story. They can become opportunities to understand each other better. That is what I want. I don't want to win arguments if winning means losing the person I love. I don't want to prove that I'm right while she feels unheard. I want us to find the truth together. I want to be mature enough to listen when my first instinct is to defend myself. I want to be humble enough to apologize when I'm wrong. I want to be strong enough to forgive when forgiveness is deserved. And I want both of us to understand that protecting a relationship sometimes matters more than protecting our pride. Because trust isn't created in one dramatic moment. It grows through consistency, through keeping promises, communicating honestly, responding to each other's needs, and repeatedly showing that the relationship matters. And that's the kind of love I want to build. Not a love that exists only when the world is kind to us. A love that becomes stronger because we learn how to face difficult things together. If she has a difficult day, I want to be a safe place for her. If I have a difficult day, I want to trust her enough to let her see the parts of me that aren't strong. If the future changes unexpectedly, I want us to adjust together. Because life will change whether we're ready for it or not. The question isn't whether we'll face storms. The question is whether we'll remember that we're on the same side when the storm arrives. And I want her to know that my commitment isn't dependent on perfect circumstances. I'm not choosing her only when she's smiling. I'm choosing her when she's tired. I'm choosing her when she's uncertain. I'm choosing her when life feels overwhelming. I'm choosing her when the road ahead is clear, and I'm choosing her when we have no idea what comes next. That's what forever should mean to me. Not a promise that nothing difficult will ever happen. A promise that difficulty won't automatically make me walk away. Because if she is the person I truly believe she is, then I don't want to love her only during the easiest chapters of her life. I want to be there for the chapters she struggles to read herself. And when life eventually asks us whether our love was real, I don't want our answer to come from words. I want it to come from the fact that we stayed, we listened, we learned, we forgave, we grew, and we kept choosing each other. Because when life tests the love I have for her, I don't want the world to see how quickly it breaks. I want it to see how deeply it was built. There comes a moment when you stop trying to find the perfect words and simply tell the truth. And if there is one truth I want her to know, it is this. My heart only beats for her. Not because there aren't millions of people in this world. There are. Not because I believe she is somehow flawless or that our journey will never be difficult. I know better than that. It is because somewhere along the way, she became the person my heart recognized as home. I didn't plan it. I didn't calculate it. I didn't wake up one morning and decide that she would become this important to me. It happened through the little things, the conversations, the silence, the laughter, the moments when she needed someone, the moments when I needed someone, and slowly, without either of us noticing exactly when it happened, She became part of the way I imagined my life. That's the truth. When I think about tomorrow, I see her. When I imagine something worth celebrating, I imagine telling her first. When I face something difficult, there is a part of me that wants to know what she would say. And when something beautiful happens, I want her to experience it with me. That's when you realize that someone isn't simply part of your life anymore. They have become part of the way you experience life. And I want her to know that I don't take that lightly. I know love isn't proven by saying the right sentence at the right moment. It is proven by consistency. It is proven by honesty, respect, attention, and the willingness to keep showing up when circumstances aren't perfect. That's what I want to give her. I want her to know that she doesn't have to compete for my attention. She doesn't have to wonder whether she matters. She doesn't have to question whether I see her value, because I do. I see the strength she sometimes forgets she has. I see the kindness she gives without expecting anything back. I see the dreams she carries quietly. I see the parts of herself she may think are too complicated to love, and I want her to understand that those parts don't scare me away. They make me want to know her more deeply. I don't want to promise her a life without problems. I want to promise her that I will never intentionally make her feel alone while we're facing those problems together. I don't want to promise that I'll always know what to say. I want to promise that I'll keep listening. I don't want to promise that I'll never make mistakes. I want to promise that I'll have the courage to admit them, learn from them, and become better. Because love isn't about finding someone who never disappoints you. It's about finding someone worth growing for, and she is worth it. She is worth the difficult conversations. She is worth the patience. She is worth the vulnerability. She is worth the effort. She is worth every decision that brings us closer instead of pushing us apart. So if she ever wonders what she means to me, I don't want to give her another complicated explanation. I want to give her the simplest truth I have. Out of all the possibilities life could have given me, my heart found her. Out of all the roads I could have taken, I want to walk the one that leads toward her. Out of all the futures I could imagine, the one that feels most meaningful is the one where she is there. And if I had to begin this entire journey again, knowing the uncertainty, knowing the challenges, knowing that love requires patience and courage, I would still take the first step toward her. Because some choices don't need to be defended. Some feelings don't need a mathematical explanation. Some people simply become irreplaceable, and she became that person for me. So this is the truth I want her to carry with her, even on the days when I don't say it perfectly. My heart chose you. My future has a place for you. My love is not just something I feel. It is something I intend to prove day after day through every chapter that comes next. And if the entire world gave me 1,000 different paths to choose from, I would still walk toward the same destination. Because after everything my heart has discovered, there is only one truth I can never run from. It doesn't simply beat because I am alive. It beats because somewhere in this world, there is you.